Okay, Darren here, bestautodetailingtips.com. I'm going to display yet another few uses of the Magic Eraser, the, what do I call it, the eighth wonder of the world, microfiber, anyhow, doesn't matter. It's an amazing tool, so many uses. So come on in, I'm in location, at location. I'm working on a Honda CRV. Yes, I work on these kinds of cars. My world is not filled with Ferraris, Bentleys, Rolls Royces, Porsches. Yes, I do a lot of them, but I still work on what you would call the normal car. This is one of them. So yet again, more uses for the Magic Eraser. Okay, I will say use number one, but because I have other videos that talk about it, depends on how you want to label it. For this car, use number one. I've already done the inside of the car. Now I'm working on the outside of the car, and I want to show you. And it also is another point where I talk about details. It is all about the details. So I remember back in the day, I'm going to zoom in here, because this is around the door handle. And it's very common to get these scratches from people, either jewelry or their fingernails or who knows what. So I'm going to zoom in a little tighter so you can see, hopefully, all the various scratches inside this door handle. And I'm just going to go around to the various door handles. This actually has scratches. You know, people just get careless. It's called lack of awareness. So they just, you know, reach for the door handle and their keys or their fingernails or jewelry. This is very common problem with cars. I'm not going to address this because I've actually already cleaned this off and there's some deep scratches, so that's a whole nother video. What I want to address is this area, because there's a pretty simple fix. And within this area you have a combination of two things, what is called transfer from burnishing. That's the official term, burnishing, and that's where friction is generated and part of the material, let's say it was my fingernails or jewelry or some of your keys, a keychain. Friction happens very quickly. It has to do with pressure and speed. The more pressure and the more speed, the more friction is going to be generated. Just take your finger and rub it against any surface really hard and many times, and it will generate lots of heat. Well, that heat will help transfer some of the material from, let's say, my hand onto the paint. You also have accumulation of dirt, your dirty fingernails, your dirty fingers, whatever, and then you have scratches. So there's three different variables to address. Really what we're addressing is a quick fix that looks good from a distance, or what I call normal viewing distance, which is here. You come up, you reach for the door handle, the customer comes up and observes. So hopefully in the video, these, I don't know if that's going to zoom in well enough, these scratches are very obvious. This is actually one of the worst cases as far as just scratches like this, because overall the car's in pretty decent, respectable shape. It just has not been detailed in many years. So every one of these door handles has these scratches in it. So how do we get the details right? How do we cut to the chase? You know the drill. So I'm going to put this back in the tripod, and it requires, if you want to oversimplify it, you can with simply some water and a Magic Eraser pad. This is my Magic Eraser pad. Obviously it's been used to a degree, but because we are dealing with a certain amount of dirt, oils, whatever, I prefer the Meguiar Super-Degreaser in conjunction or along with the Magic Eraser. You can either spray it directly on the pad if you don't want to get a bunch of overspray around the paint, or you can just shoot it straight into the paint. So the deal with the Magic Eraser is, yes, it will abrade if you use it hard enough and long enough. So that means if you put enough pressure on it and you go back and forth enough times, you eventually will abrade any material. but that's where you control, just like using a buffer. You can custom control the moment. So you use very light pressure, test for results, you check your results, and then you either proceed further with more pressure or more rubbing back and forth. So right here I've already cleaned off the scratch marks, and I'm going to go around and do all 4, and then I'll come back and I'll show you, because really what I wanted to deal with this will not remove actual individual scratches. This will help remove abrading, which is a layer or an effect of very fine, very superficial scratching. This will remove the dirt, it will remove those any transfer that's there, and it will almost completely diminish everything but hardcore scratches, which, as I observe this, after I know that I clay and wax this paint, this will look perfect. So let me go around and do the rest, and then I will show you the after result. Okay, a couple things. First, let's take a look. And once again, I hope this is showing up. This looks 99% perfect now. All I have to do is clay it and wax it, and I know it's just going to be like good as new. This is the front door, or the driver's door, and in here, once again, 99% perfect. You'll notice that there's still scratches here. This would actually require wet sanding and polishing to remove these 100%. I can diminish these greatly by just using some polish by hand, which I'm going to do, but that's a different video. Let's go around to the other side, and once again, you tell me, what would you rather have, this or the before? I think the answer is obvious. Here's the last door handle, and that took me roughly, I don't know, 5.5 minutes at best. It's going to take me a lot longer because I'm shooting this video, but that's the trade-off. So something that has come up in the videos is my dilution ratios. I have a whole video on it, but I had a moment where I confused the audience, because I use so much of this that I mix it in 5-gallon containers. So for ease on my part, or simplicity on my part, I actually dilute this 5-to-1. 4-to-1 and 5-to-1 is really irrelevant. The bottle itself, if you look at the 2 markings, there's 10-to-1 and 4-to-1. Okay, that's for simplistic or simplicity. Okay, so 4-to-1 or 10-to-1, that's my 2 dilution ratios. 4-to-1 is where, as a rule, I use on the exterior of the car. Wheel wells, tires, a moment like this, the engine compartment. Does that mean I don't ever use it on the inside? That's not what it means. It's a case by case, and I will use it if it is appropriately done, and I have tested first and verified the results and proceeded forward. On the interior, I will use it 10-to-1 as my rule. Okay, so just to clarify that. And why do I not just use this instead of my all-purpose cleaner on the interior? Well, because this is good and it will take care of most of the dirt. This is just more aggressive, or you could say better, at breaking down certain types of grease and oils. But between these 2 products, I can virtually accomplish any car to 99% level. I have a couple other products that are more specialized. I'm not going to get into that, but really when we're talking about 99%, that's most of you. So okay, that's use number 1 for the magic eraser on this car.